Hello. We have 3 stories today of malicious compliance. While our first story didn't win the most awards, I thought it was a special little gem. In our tale, a middle manager, recognizing his employee is getting screwed, gives the green light to cause as much chaos as possible on the way out. As always, your support helps fight the Reddit bot menace. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. Story 1. Laid off and replaced by 2 lazy privileged waffles. I used to be in charge of the printer room in a rather large company. We shipped a ton of product every day, and everything shipped had to have the accompanying printed label and documents. Nothing can even be loaded onto the trucks without this paperwork. Now, this was in the olden days of the 90s, so we had 7 massive 4-foot-tall dot matrix printers that did all the work. These printers were temperamental little buggers, and if the paper jammed, the printer did not automatically stop printing. It would just keep pushing and jamming more and more paper into the machine until, if left untended, it would break down. Running the printer room was a 2-person job. When I started, I trained for 2 full weeks with the 2 current printer room employees. One was being promoted. I was replacing him. It was a rough frackin' 2 weeks, let me tell you. Getting the hang of the job, the various things you had to learn, do, etc. One thing that made it even more complicated was the fact that each printer had its own personality with its own problems. Another was the fact that a problem in one printer could have a different fix than the exact same problem in another. The job would be quiet for 45 minutes straight, during which we did routine maintenance and such, but was really slow and quiet and restful. Because this company processed its shipping orders in batches once an hour, and then boy, on the hour, every hour, the batch of orders would go through and thousands of orders would come spitting out. Now, if you were on top of things and kept everything running smoothly, the orders would print out very neatly and quickly. But if you didn't know what you were doing, if you didn't maintain things just right, you'd get a backup and things would go to hell very, very fast. And when one machine went down, you had to fix it fast before the next one jammed, because guaranteed, those machines would jam up multiple times on every batch print job. So I've been working the print room for several months, and things were great. Then my coworker gave his 2 weeks notice. We tried to train my replacement, but he was incredibly lazy and got fired fairly a few days after the end of his training, which left me in the printer room alone. Then the bosses informed me that my position is being phased out, and I am going to be replaced by 2 employees transferred from a different department. So not only am I losing my job, but I have to train my replacements. And I desperately needed a good recommendation from this company, so I couldn't just quit or slack off. I quickly learned that both of these transfers are lazy and useless. They'd been with the company for decades, had friends in the head office, and knew their jobs were safe. I'd show them how to do something, and they'd flat out laugh and say, "Yeah, I'm not doing that." Every day, I'd be trying to train them, and they would ignore me, chat with each other, leave to go sit in the cafeteria, leaving me to do a 2-person job alone. Luckily, I was good enough to handle the workload, but it was annoying. Mindful of the fact that I needed a reference of this company, I kept extensive notes on each day's progress. I clearly documented every single instance of the replacements refusing to learn, even listen to my instructions. I also followed up daily with my direct supervisor, and he knew what was going on. And my notes went into the company files and were passed up the line. Despite my scathing reports, head office did nothing. Now it's my last day. This is the day the training process assigned for letting the newbies work alone, with no help or supervision allowed, to see how well they handle the job and the pressure. I was, in writing, forbidden to help them or answer any questions. As I expected, things went bad pretty much immediately, minutes into the first batch of orders. One of the biggest printers jammed, and the clueless idiots had no idea how to fix the printer jam, because they ignored me every time I tried to show them how. So they turned to me and demand that I fix things. I'm sitting on a desk, coffee in one hand, an apple in the other, and smile and say, "Yeah, I'm not doing that." So one of them is yelling at me while the other is basically thumping uselessly on the printer like a gorilla that just found a candy machine. Then a second printer jams. Paper starts spilling out of the back of the first printer, which if you knew the job was a really, really, really bad warning sign. "Well, I'm going to go to the cafeteria. Good luck," I say as I stand up. As I'm leaving, I hear a third printer crunch and jam up. I went to my supervisor and let him know what was happening. He said he not only expected as much, he had predicted so repeatedly to his superiors. He once again specifically forbade me from offering any help, so I went to the cafeteria and read my book for a little over an hour. Then my supervisor comes to me to let me know what happened. The entire printer room is down, every single printer either jammed up or actually broken. The company is losing thousands of dollars every single minute. One of the shipper receiving supervisors finds me, all in a panic, begging me to get the orders printed. Sorry, I'm not allowed to do that, I replied. Now several people are running around outside the cafeteria, all in a panic, running from place to figure out why they don't have any shipping orders. The chaos took hours to resolve, and I wasn't allowed to fix the problems. Anytime someone started giving me a hard time, my supervisor would intervene. He'd show the memo from the bosses stating that I was forbidden to help in the printer room that day. I spent my entire last day at work drinking coffee, chatting with coworkers, and reading my book. The whole fiasco ended up costing the company tens of thousands of dollars. In the comments, OP added 2 pieces of info. I'd like to say the higher-ups learned their lesson, but the replacements just got shuffled off to some other departments. Sadly, at my company, the lesson of the day was always nepotism. Like, open and frank nepotism. They stated openly that hiring preference is given to family members of existing employees. There were entire clans of family members working there, each of whom would automatically support their other family members in any issue. The 2 replacements I tried to train were closely related to several upper muckety-mucks. To combat favoritism, managers wouldn't be allowed to manage their own family. But they did know how to talk to each other and make "I'll promote yours if you promote mine" deals. Again, all out in the open. No attempt to hide this behavior. It made for an interesting work environment, to be certain. Nothing like watching a dumpster fire that someone else started, am I right? Especially when you warned of its pending doom. But I think that order to stand down from the higher-ups is just another example of the level of incompetence at this place. How on earth did they stay in business? Our second story was the one that won all the awards of last week, and it's not hard to see why. As one local doctor proves that the pen is mightier than the sword. Or corporate policy. In story 2. How a local doctor got the best malicious compliance against my boss. Somewhere around 2007, I was working as a drugstore manager. Running the entire front store and the pharmacy, pay was excellent for someone who was in their early to mid-20s, but the job was also soul-crushing in some stupid ways. A rule came down that cashiers can no longer have drinks at the register. They can drink on their lunch breaks and otherwise shouldn't need water. At the same time, they dialed back the AC, so the store was constantly uncomfortably warm, but not technically dangerous. I had some of the best staff. One lady was roughly 65 and came to me to let me know she was on medicine that gave her dry mouth. So she needed me to know if I took her water away, she would really have a hard time being able to talk to customers. She almost developed a lisp when she couldn't have her water. I told her, no worries, have your water, I'll deal with my boss when he sees you someday. Because he was running 40 stores and mine was generally not a problem store, he only came by every 60 days or so. Eventually, he does swing in and asks her about her water. She says I have a medical condition and I told her it was fine. I also told him I had approved the water. He pulls me into the office to let me know that for her to have the water, she needs a doctor's note. If he sees her with it again without a note, we both get written warnings. He explains this is because not following the company rule can't be a decision made by me. I'm flabbergasted. I'm just the manager in charge of the store. This company literally made me do drills on how to deal with bombs or shootings, but I can't approve a bottle of water? It must be an exception deemed necessary for medical needs? I explain this is stupid. He actually agrees, but says he's also following orders from above. Great! I pull my cashier aside and tell her what's up. I said I'm really sorry, but can she please just get her doctor to fax a stupid note over so we can cover our behinds? She got a little gleam in her eyes, and I was excited to see what it meant. Her next shift, she rolls in and says, "You are going to love this." She hands me about 100 copies of a letter that says something along the lines of, I do solemnly state that cashier is medically a human being and requires water on regular intervals while working and not solely during breaks. This was a massive waste of my time and your company should be ashamed of yourself. I will be recommending your competitor as much as humanly possible to my patients who fill prescriptions in this town for the rest of my natural life. Dr. Blank. The next 40 were identical letters, each with a different staff member listed, as my genius cashier had snagged an old schedule with first names and last initials. The rest had a blank space for me to fill in new hire names so our staff could all have drinks on the sales floor. My boss wasn't even mad. None of the higher-ups above him ever mentioned it on a store walk, so I assume it was covered in a meeting of people higher up than me. In the comments, Bay Platinum said, "That's such a dumb rule and nobody should have to deal with that." Gifted Garden Snail replied, "Up there with forcing cashiers to stand for no reason than sitting down looks lazy because of course no one in an office job ever gets any work done ever." Kitchen Arm said, "This is perfect. Revenge is a glass best served cold." Rebel Without Claws added, "Preferably ice cold water with a note from a doctor." But I'm really left wondering what sort of nincompoop would pull this idea out of nowhere? And how did nobody put their hand up to say, maybe this isn't a good policy, or this is a colossal waste of our breath? Gotta love how the letter highlights all of this and is a hit below the money belt. Our third story brings us back to the corporate office with traditional malicious compliance fare, as one man proves exactly why documenting everything is the best policy in story 3. This has got to be the 4th or 5th time I've asked you to do this. I had a performance review on July 1st, and my boss told me that I have a hard time keeping track of tasks. It's really not my fault since the company is too cheap to invest in a task management solution. We literally have to go off massive email chains, and when you have 30 people CC'd in an email with 25 of them not knowing the difference between reply and reply all, you end up with a lot of stuff getting lost in the mix. Anyway, my boss told me that I needed to start keeping track of everything. Everything you say? Every phone call, every email, every bit of communication for every bloody task? With timestamps. Because apparently I am very forgetful and don't get anything done. I'm normally never this petty, but he gave me bad remarks across the board, so I figured, you know what? I ain't going down without a fight, especially when I'm being blamed for something that is not entirely my fault. Also, I know I am very effective as an employee because I get things done. But my boss doesn't seem to know that. So I spent the July 4th weekend developing a simple task manager to be used by only me. Every phone call gets automatically logged. Every email I receive saved as a PDF and time-stamped. Time received, time opened, time that I completed reading the email. Got a package you're sending me? I'm logging that junk too. Time the UPS FedEx driver delivered it. Time I brought it into the house. Time I opened the package. Time I threw out the packaging. I don't care if it takes me an extra hour each day. I'm logging everything. So today, he emails me saying, "This has got to be the 4th or 5th time I've asked you to do so-and-so task." It was my forking time to shine. I responded with this, boss name. In regards to the task in question, I have received the following communication. Tuesday, July 25th, 2023, 11:18 a.m. Phone call received from boss phone asking me to complete this task. Tuesday, July 25th, 2023, 12:08 p.m. Task sent for review. Confirm task pending review with your assistant. Emailed boss email reminding him that the task was pending review. Friday, August 4th, 2023, 11:01 a.m. Email received from boss email asking me to this is the 4th or 5th time asking to complete this task. Friday, August 4th, 2023, 11:02 a.m. Confirmed with boss's assistant that the task was still pending review. Friday, August 4th, 2023, 11:03 a.m. Confirmed with boss's assistant that the task was never reviewed by boss. Friday, August 4th, 2023, 11:04 a.m. Re-forwarded email to boss from July 25th, 2023, 12:08 p.m., reminding him that the task was pending review. You asked me once, and it was completed within the hour. If you asked me about this task 4 to 5 times, I would have told you 3 to 4 times that it was already pending review because it was completed the first time you asked. Asking me to keep a record of everything was a great idea because now I know that I am not the problem here. In the comments, Lake Effect Snow said, "Nice work. He's going to fire you first opportunity." OP replied, "He's been trying to find a replacement for me for 2 years now. It's hard to replace someone who is already being paid below market rate while also being the primary developer of the company's most profitable product. He may be the captain of the ship, but I am the engine. Mega Mario Sonic said, "Ha, lol, someone's getting fired in the morning. Hint, not him." OP replied, "Well, it'll be Saturday, and we don't work Saturday, so no, I won't. Ha, lol." Mega Mario Sonic added, "Ah, good. Also pedantic. Monday." There is nothing worse than someone criticizing you for errors that aren't even real. I'd be miffed. Also, takes a pair to put it in writing like that. I think a more passive-aggressive approach is the norm. You know, say, do you happen to have those emails with the second, third, fourth, and fifth requests? I can't seem to find any of them. So weird. I'll also add this points to a golden rule in the corporate world, one that IT is not fond of because it takes up a lot of storage. Keep every email. CYA, folks. And that's it for today. Until next time, shine bright, Starlight. Yahoo! If you've enjoyed the story and would like to hear more, consider liking, subscribing, and leaving a comment. Thanks, and bye for now.